Director Parrott,
Present.
Director Robinson,
Here.
Director Shelby.
Here.
And I'm Director Rowland, and I'm here. I'd like to welcome everyone. We do have a couple guests. Communications and celebrations.
At the elementary, since the last time I had talked to you, we've had a full day of professional development for our teachers and the area that's all centered around our new reading curriculum. We have had the 100th day of school, which is a pretty big deal in the kindergarten and first grade world. They did a whole bunch of activities, math activities that are centered around counting to 100 and a variety of things like that. We are finishing up our winter testing, which includes testing in literacy and math, and then we're also doing going kind of school-wide with some social emotional competencies and things like that. Kind of, do they feel safe at school? Do they feel like they have a trusted adult? Things like that. We just figured at the time, we could wait till next year. We could get going right now. So we're going to get going with that. Today, it was supposed to be last Friday. We were going to have our global school play day, which we moved it to today. It went really, really well. We had a big chunk of time that was kind of semi-unstructured. It allowed kids to focus on creativity and some social interactions or some teachable moments when there's an activity going on and they didn't students didn't agree on something, or they didn't one student won, and so there's some good teachable moments in there. And then what was the last thing on there? We
Mrs. Putnam's.
yes, well, that's just pretty new. The elementary school is going to be partnering with one of Mrs. Putney's English classes to have kind of a weekly program where her class of 8 or 9 students are going to come to the elementary. They're going to read with a small group. I think each high school student would have 2 to 3 elementary students, and then they'll read to them, kind of develop a little bit of a connection, relationship. And it's meant to drive home the importance for the high school students, that when they become parents, the importance of reading to their children. And so that's kind of the goal behind it. But other than that, that's pretty much it.
Thank you.
I'm old, I need notes. Can't do it, can't remember all this stuff. Actually, I don't have very much this month. Professional development, last week, we spent the first part of our PD time. Janae McKinley went over differentiation that will help our ELL students. She's done that before, and we just thought it'd be a good time to have a refresher. So she did a great job doing that. And then we looked at our data. We too are finishing up our winter testing time for the kids, and we looked at the reading scores, math scores, and social emotional scores, just to try to find which kids are improving, which ones we still need to work with, and so forth. So it was a good afternoon. We recently, if you would go onto our website, we recently added a reporting device to our webpage. Kids or parents actually could get on and report either bullying, where that report would be sent to me, and we also have one where if they're missing or have something missing or stolen, they can get on and do that. And we did that because when we did our focus groups for our kids, it's something that we really haven't heard a whole lot about, theft or bullying, and yet the kids talked about it during their focus groups time. So we thought we would try to give them another avenue to report so that we could take care of it. So The teachers actually went over that with them today, and they will, so now we'll see how it goes. We actually had somebody turn in a missing, something was missing, and they surprisingly found it in their locker. Wow. It was. We are going to have a concert coming up here on the 23rd of February. The 5-6 bands will play at 6 o'clock. After that, we'll clear the audience out, and the 7-8 band and the 7-8 chorus will perform. And it's just kind of nice getting back to some of those things that are a little more normal for us. The next day, on the 24th, we were going to have that modified Aaron Eilert's Day. We are just going to run a 2-hour early out schedule. Kids are going to stay in their Eagle Time groups so that we're not getting all of the kids mixing up, and they're going to actually do a couple of projects within their Eagle Time. So it's not going to be like it normally is. Obviously, no visitors will be coming in, and we felt like it was important to keep it going. But with COVID, we had to make some changes on it. And then the following day, on the 25th, we're going to start the process with our 8th graders. Brenda's deal is going to come over and meet with our 8th grade kids and start getting them ready to go into high school, which is hard to believe. So that's all I got.
Thank you.
The top paragraph is kind of wordy. I'm not going to go over all of it. I'll let you guys read that. But basically, we were struggling with our high school students at the beginning of the year, struggling with engagement and motivation. You know, you always kind of get that, but it was a lot worse this year. And we think, you know, due to COVID, having to stay home for such a long time, it was hard to get back in the routine. So at one point, we had 464 failing grades in the high school. And so we ended up brainstorming and thinking of some different ideas to kind of put that ownership on the kids. And we were able to reduce the failing grades by the end of the semester, now 600%. We ended the semester with only 75 Fs, and 72% of those were from 10 students. And those students have much more significant issues beyond just failing classes. So that was a huge win. The teachers put in a lot of time, the kids put in a lot of time and effort to get those credits earned by the end of the semester. So big shout out to all of them for doing that. That was a huge, huge change. And then just for some recognition for some individual students, Emma Lawler was one of the 100 students that was a finalist for the Iowa Bar Association Know Your Constitution program. So that's pretty cool. Large group speech performed at the high school is a little different this year because of COVID, where we had a judge come into the school to judge them. For the first round, there was 3 groups, 2 improv and 1 readers theater. They all got 1, so they went on to state. And then this weekend, this is the part that isn't complete on your sheet, is that readers theater got a 1, and then the 2 improv groups got 2s. So they did a great job there at state. And then Caden Pritchard and Dustin Dawson are on a trip to districts for wrestling. And then as far as testing goes, Alpha 21 testing starts at the high school this week. It'll probably take us till March to finish that. So the EL kids get tested significantly between now and when we're done with ISASS testing as well. They'll test every day. They have 5 different tests they have to take, and we do it during their study hall, so we try not to pull them out of class. So it's pretty intense for them to do that. And then we also have the reading and math universal screener window is open right now. So that's happening at the high school. And that's new this year, looking at that data and then learning how to use it with the high school teachers. So
One of the things that people are gonna start asking about is the spring is prom. Our plan is to have a prom
Yep.
unless somebody tells us we can't. It may look a little bit different, we may have to do things differently than we have in the past years, but we will try to make it as normal as possible. Unless somebody from the state or county steps in and tells us we can't, that's our plan.
we talked about not doing the winter formal. We did that last year. We got the winter formal done and then everything shut down. So we decided to skip that this year. Just in case, because it happened so close to the prom date really. So if something were to happen, you know, we don't want anything to happen at that when prom is a little bit more well attended, it's more significant, that sort of thing. So
Can you see anything happening with after prom, or would you say,
My own theory is that we should have after prom,
Okay.
because I can control the people and the location and if they're wearing masks or not. If we can put people in a PE class wearing masks, we can put people in after prom wearing masks.
I've not reached out to any junior parents, because, we
Yeah.
had kind of talked, so
I would rather control
It
the
might need to
narrative
be a
on
little
it, because
bit
I
more-
know where there will be until,
scale
Whatever
down
time we
too,
run.
yeah,
Yep.
okay.
so
Keep
You may
me,
have to,
keep me
like-
posted then, and we'll,
eating and things like that, we may have to do a little bit differently, but I would rather have an after prom than not have an after prom.
Thank you.
what's the date on that? Do you know that?
Do you know the date, Heidi?
Oh, it's either the last weekend in April or the first weekend in May. I think we went with April.
In my mind, it's. end of May.
24th? Sound right?
And what would be the next weekend?
Then it's May 1st.
Yeah, it might be the 24th.
Oh, it might be, hold on, I got it on, oh, it's May 1st. I
Okay.
got it on my, because there was something going on the 24th for whatever reason.
It might be Clarion's prom on the 24th, because when I talked to him, theirs was the end of April. That might be why they moved it.
Yeah, so it's May 1st. I have it written down here.
Thank you, everyone. Next item is public comment cards, which we have none. So item number 6, conflict of interest declarations. I have one. I don't know if anybody else does. Item number 7, approval of the proposed agenda.
So moved.
It's been moved and second to approve the proposed agenda. Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Item number 8, the consent items.
I'll move to approve the consent items. Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the consent items. Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 9, EGESA.
Well, I think most of you I know, few of you I don't. My name is Barb Jones. I am a lifelong resident of Eagle Grove. In fact, my grandparents graduated from Eagle Grove, my parents graduated from Eagle Grove, my 5 siblings, my husband, his father, his grandfather, nieces and nephews, and my own children. So I've been invested in Eagle Grove for my whole life. And so Mitch and I, Mitch, my son, is the co-president this year of the union. We understand that to keep a community healthy, you have to have a healthy school district. And so we know in making our proposal that that's our bottom line too. We know that for us to function well as a community, our school has to function well. So, and I have to say that I haven't dealt a lot with Jess, but when I have, he has been very responsive, always answered any question I've had. Mitchell has dealt with Jess quite a bit. And so, many years ago, I worked for the AEA as a parent liaison, and I went into a lot of districts. And not every administration is like that. And so I appreciate that you are obtainable, you're reachable, and you listen. And I truly believe that you want the best for all of your staff, not just the district, but your staff too, because a healthy district is a healthy staff. And so we kept that in mind when we came up with this proposal, when we talked to Todd. Mitchell wanted to say a couple things.
I just want to say that I speak on behalf of all our union members when I say how grateful we are to Jess and the school board for everything the district has done for us. In my experience with Jess, he has always been willing to listen to me and answer any questions I have, whether it's union related or non-union related. And as the EGESA co-president, I really appreciate that. And we as a whole value our relationship with you with the superintendent and all the members of the school board. That's all I want to
So
say.
you want to hand out the copies?
Oh, yeah.
This is just a rough draft, so excuse it's not a clean draft, but our proposal, the DESA and the Eagle Ghost Community School District is this. For the association purposes, we are looking at requesting a 10-cent raise to increase the salary base of the cook to that of the associate level. Currently, they're 10 cents lower than what we are. And we felt they work hard, and that is something we maybe should look at doing. We're also proposing a 25% across the board base increase of all levels. The total package would be $17,026, which is a 3.26% for regular ed, $61,772, which is a 3.29%, including special ed and associates in the cooks. This agreement would be effective for 3 years, and I believe in the past they were doing for 2. So that would include the 2021-22 school year, the 2022-23 school year, and the 23-24 school year, with it beginning July 1st of 2021, and shall continue in full and in effect until June 30th of 2024. Note that this agreement is to the first of 3 agreements for the parties agreed that only base wages can be reopened for 2022, 2023, and 2024. That's all we have for you.
How the process will work is we have 10 days to respond. Because we have a new lawyer, I have to get them the information and have them rewrite it, because I haven't worked with this law firm before. So, our plan is on Tuesday, February 16th at 3:35 to make sure John can get up here.
Okay.
We will meet here for an open meeting. You are invited to come. You do not have to come. We will do a counter proposal at that time. Once that is presented, then we will, because Todd is gonna be here that day, unless he changes his mind and can't, then we will go in and meet for an hour or so and see where we are with it.
Okay.
So that will be the plan for Tuesday, February 16th. If anything changes with you, let me know. I'll get a hold of Tracy or somebody else and see if.
I
they
said,
can
you
come
want
up
me
here.
to come too, or?
You're more than welcome. So, that will be the plan for now. So thank you very much.
Working at home makes it easy. Unless a meeting comes up. 3:35, you said?
3:35, we'll have our meeting.
Okay.
You'll set a reminder. please.
Yep. I'll set the reminder.
Item number 10, administrative building project change orders.
We have change orders starting on page, I want to say 11.
12.
On page 12. Again, they gotta go through them. Drainage pipes and underground tunnel, they had to do a little reroute with that. We're putting 2 restrooms in the upstairs, and so that is what that was. When they do the drawings of it into an old building, you sometimes run into issues with it to see where they are. The second one is bulkhead that was not shown on the existing sound, so they had to work around that. They thought at one point it had asbestos, it did not, so we were okay there. Third one is fire rated doors. We had some doors that did not pass the fire marshal when they drew it up. They thought they would when the fire marshal was here, that would not work. Fourth one, upstairs, there are 3 windows where we had window air conditioners. We had to figure out how to seal those when you pull out the air conditioners, because you'll have central air in the new one. This is how to address it. What they did is they found 2 of the windows, but they didn't find the 3rd window, and then if you're gonna screw them in or how you're gonna install them. So, oh wait, I got one more. The 4th one is a credit bath. They had technology drops that were more than we needed now that we've got these up here, which from the Wi-Fi standpoint. And so they worked with Lance to say, here's where we can eliminate some of those. So those are the technology drops that it's a credit back on that one. I would recommend you approve them. They're all minor. We haven't ran into any major problems. Our biggest issues, which I guess I can get to when we get later, but our biggest issues is getting stuff on time because some of the factories are backlogged.
I'll make a motion to approve those.
It's been moved and second to approve the administrative building change orders. Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 11, early retirement in the administrative.
We have one person that has applied for the early retirement, Mr. Jeske. I recommend that you approve that and thank him for his years of service.
Make a motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the early retirement. Are there any questions or discussion?
And we checked with the auditor and we're fine with everything
Yeah.
that, everything's good on it, so.
Anything else?
The one thing that, and Scott had this question, but I had it for Teresa too, just so we're all on the same page. His question was, if I die before I take it all, if you look at the teacher one, because it's cash, it says that if you die, it goes to a dependent. We will honor it for the 3 years regardless. It is a benefit that is earned and agreed upon. So if he would die, his family would still get the benefit for that time being. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that. So in case I die,
I hope I
everybody
don't.
knows that. Everybody's on the same page.
It's a bad discussion.
Mhm.
Did they give us clarity whether we have to take it all the
No,
first year?
it's-
Every
Just
year.
every year?
Yep.
Okay, because I know with the cash, when we used to do it in 3 segments, we had to take it all the first year, so,
No, we can do it here.
good. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Not here.
Sit down.
Thanks for the years.
Yeah.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. Tough decision.
Item number 12, SBRC request for the environmental hazard abatement.
We've got 2 different things on here. One is for asbestos removal. One is for chemical disposal. Every once in a while, you go through the chemistry labs and go through and take out what chemicals are old and not good. That has been done. There's one left that they have to come and get. I got the quote on that today. It's $600, which was a lot less than I was anticipating, but we will not be able to go to SBRC on it because this is your last chance to apply for it for this year. This is, the asbestos is different projects. The last one that we had on it was when they got in here and they had to do some drilling, the floor tiles we had to get rid of. You had to do all of this. A lot of it's related to this and then some at the middle school. This is not asbestos. The 2x2 tiles, which are all gone, that were out in the halls, those were all asbestos. So they had to come and they had to do 2 different things in order to keep us working. We had to split it up over a time frame. So this is, if you get the allowable growth, you can spend your cash and get back the spending authority with it. So I recommend you do it. It's just a cash flow advantage to do it this way.
Make a motion for it.
Second.
Been moved and second to submit the SBRC request. Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 13, board policy updates.
Okay, so turn to page 19. Chapter 103 is a new law that's coming in. So they're starting to write the guidelines for it. And what it has to do is with the restraint and seclusion. They're changing how we can do it. They're changing the definitions. There is a checklist that we continue to get from the AEA that says, here are the things that you have to have as you go through. Part of the next step is we have to do training as administrators, and we have to do training of our teachers, which is through the AEA on how to do it. The first step to meeting the requirements is Iowa Associated School Boards recommends that you approve these changes to their, to board policy. So last year we went through and we updated the board policy. I went through, updated what we have and ran off what the policies are that they now recommend. You don't have a choice. You know, it's the new law, it's the policies. So I recommend that you approve these. 4 or 5 of them, 5 of them are current ones. that are just being rewritten, and the rest are brand new that we have to add to the book.
And we have to.
You
do
can
readings.
waive the second reading if you want, and in this situation, I would recommend you waive the second reading, because it's going into law, and we gotta get it done.
Okay.
So,
I'll make a motion to accept those and waive the second reading.
Second.
Been moved and second to approve the changes and waive the second reading. Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 14, board member reports. Good, boring group.
oh, I got all.
I
I
had
just-
the conference board, and that caused a big stir, obviously, in the paper. It's not 154% raise. It's 30 some cents. A lot of people didn't understand that the assessor's budget is 100% separate than your regular taxes. So it's taxed separately. It's a separate line item on your property taxes. So their taxing authority is, I think, 67 cents per thousand is the max. Hers was 74 cents, but you can tax FICA and IPERS separately. So that's how they do that. It's always been at like 30 or 40 some cents, whatever it was. She's also dipped into her side fund for the last several years, and to keep all the costs down, and mainly, I guess, and they need an IT position there. That's what the GIS position is, and that's costing us tons of money. And the increase in wages, so essentially it's, like $36 for 100,000 valuation. So,
I told you those meetings could get exciting.
oh boy.
Anything else from the board?
I was just gonna say, with the sports seasons winding down, thanks to, Amanda and Rich have done a lot, and everybody else involved with everything that has to be done. I think the communication has been really good. I've seen a lot on Facebook, and there's always been complaints, but I think what I've seen, and when I've asked questions, they've been answered well. And I think, like I said, trying to abide by the rules, yet, try to be as
The main thing is-
accommodating as we can be. So I think it's gone,
Knock on wood, we made it. We got through football, basketball, and wrestling, and volleyball. Track season, I'm not worried about because it's outdoors. That's, I hope it is, but it should be our easiest one of that to go. In baseball, softball, the same thing, because it's outdoors.
We had Belmont and Clarion here last week for wrestling. I was surprised that everybody's wearing masks. So, it wasn't a huge ordeal.
Anything else? Superintendent's report.
Okay, talking about masks, Governor Reynolds on Friday came out with a decree that surprised us, where she was ending the mask mandate and restrictions on events. I anticipate that we will get a lot of parents and students thinking that that's going to end it for the school. It will not. I want to make sure that that's clear. I sent it to the paper. One, we have a return to learn plan, and we have a board mandate that says we're required masks. I do not want to get back to where if a kid does not wear a mask and test positive, I have to take out the other 10 kids that are around him. So I anticipate wearing masks at the end of the school year, and we'll see next year going into it where we are with it. The second part of it is we still have a county mandate from the County Board of Health that says that you have limitations on your ball games and that you have a county mask mandate. So we will still honor those two. So although the governor has changed some of the regulations from a statewide basis, we still have limitations on us from a countywide basis. Principal process, we're collecting applications right now. They are due on Friday. After that, we'll start evaluating them next week. Next week is kind of a funny week because we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday is when we're getting our COVID vaccine. So it's a short week and then everybody's gone for 2 weeks. So the next week is when we'll come back and try to set up some interviews. We have had more interest than I thought we would get in it, which is good. At the current time, we have 21 apps. Some of those can be junk apps though, because you just push a button and it goes. So we have to go through and figure out who's actually interested in the position. Lance set up a thing for us last year with the elementary position where once the committee selected 5 to 7 people, we sent them questions to send back a video of themselves answering them. Then we took that to the staff. The staff was able to see them, to listen to it, and then we picked up our candidates from that we wanted to actually bring in from interview. I talked to him today. That's going to be our plan. Hopefully next week we will limit that group down to people that we're interested in. We'll send it out over the week that we have spring break, give them time to answer by Friday. Our plan is to give all staff who want it the COVID vaccine next Wednesday, which is February 17th. Currently, we are going to let out of school 2 hours early, which was not on our original calendar. That will give us between 1:30 and 3:30 to get our staff vaccinated. Staff will get the shots. We will make them stay with us for 15 minutes or so, and then we kind of want them still hanging around the school to make sure that they're all right. I talked to Clarion today. Theirs took about 3.5 hours to get through their staff on Friday. I have sent Sandy an email. I've not heard back from her yet, wondering if we need to go earlier. If we have to, we'll cancel school for the day, or do a virtual day or something to allow time to make sure we get everybody vaccinated, because it is quite a job, and just have all the people there for a day. It's important to get that done to get us back to normal. Personally, I've been elected to the Iowa High School Athletic Association Representative Council for a 4-year term. It's not that big of an honor. Nobody really wanted it. They had 3 people and I got it. So I'm not sure what that all entails. They have a board of directors. This group is a group of 25 that works under the board of directors to give input. My first meeting on that is March, so I'll learn more about that as it goes, but we do have a voice on the Iowa Boys High School Athletic Association. If you read the paper, we received an additional $758,000 in COVID money. While it seems like a windfall, you still have limitations on what you can spend it on. It has to be related to COVID. And it's open to, if you can find a correlation to COVID and bringing kids back to school, you can do it, but it's not just it's not going to boost our budget and be able to use it wherever we want. We have to use it to be able to educate kids and keep kids in the building. We will work on that end of this year, planning into next year, and we have 23 months to spend that money. Dwight 2 is retiring at the end of this year. He is on a Clarion Goldfield contract, so we won't get anything here. He has been an excellent asset to our district, and we want to make sure that we thank him for his years of service too. They are currently advertising for the position. We will see what we get for apps and determine how we go. I cannot guarantee you that the job is not too much between 2 districts for 1 person. We will have those discussions. We've had those conversations. We will have to see those conversations. If you look at the trajectories when that was put in, you had 2 schools that were getting smaller fast. Since then, enrollment has not only went up, but they've sucked in another school district, or the Dow's district, that you've added a lot of miles to it. It has great benefit from a sharing standpoint and the sharing dollars you get. That's why we want to try to share it, because you get money with it. We'll have to see what you get for apps. And I don't think I shouldn't say that. That's not right. It's hard to find a person that will be on call from 4 in the morning till 10 at night when all the buses are out till they get back. Dwight was very committed to that. So, the other one I have is Deb Denclaw's retiring. She is shared between us and Clarion. We hold her contract on that. So we've contacted juvenile courts asking if they have a job description or a ad to advertise what they want on it, because actually the funding comes through them. We will start advertising that the end of this month, and between us and Clarion, we'll hire that position. Deb has also been wonderful, and has done a really good job for us. Currently, and Lance, tell me if I'm wrong on this, is the homepage still down?
Yep, just got an email from the service provider. They found the issue and hope to have it up by tomorrow.
Okay, so if, when we went to cancel school on Thursday, I couldn't get on and it was gone. I had to call Lance and he had the back door to put it up, but it was a fault from the provider. So if anybody complains that the website is down, hopefully they'll have that fixed so we can get back on it. I think that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions for me?
What about the information on vouchers that you said?
Okay, so the vouchers has passed the Senate. It is having an issue gaining support in the House that they need enough to pass it. You have the governor that's pushing it hard, you have the Senate that's pushing it hard. What that creates is it creates a mechanism so you can send your kids to private school and get, it depends on what they decide with the dollar amount, but let's say 80% of the state aid that goes with it. The kicker with it is if you hear anybody talk about competition and competition will make you better, it's not competition because they don't have to follow any of the rules. It says right in it, they do not have to accept any student and they do not have to follow the guidelines of the state. The problem I have with it is from a rural school district standpoint, we don't have a lot of options for private schools. We have St. Ed's, which is close, but you gotta have money to drive your kid and get them there, so it's more of an urban area issue, and by sending the money there, you're gonna be taking it from the schools, which affects your rural population. The other thing that the big push, and if you watch the debate, is a lot of it is these are failing schools, you gotta get your kids out of it. They're pointing their finger at Des Moines Public School. Des Moines Public School has challenges. The thing is, Eagle Grove's not a lot different. I got a third of my kids that are within the first couple of years of speaking English. So could you be on that failing school? Yeah, you could. You might not get off. Amazingly, we always have a gap between our special ed kids and our non-special ed kids, and our ELL kids and our non-ELL kids. Guess what? That's why they're labeled in a different group. If you have a kid that is special ed, he does really well on test proficient, he moves over to the other side. You're never gonna, you're always gonna have that disparity, but from a political standpoint, it's wonderful to point those out. So it would affect us in the standpoint if they opened up the open enrollment or the private school option, because we would be considered a school that is targeted. We've never hit I don't know what the word is, but
It's comprehensive.
comprehensive. We haven't hit that. We've hit targeted so far, but you can only do targeted for so long and you fall into that category. And it's always going to be a challenge for us to keep off it as long as you have a high ELL population.
Well, the
And it
other
doesn't mean
piece-
your kids aren't working hard. It's a challenge.
The other piece is it's the bottom, I think 10% of schools, so you're always gonna have 10% of the schools in Iowa in that group. So even if every school in Iowa is knocking it out of the park, there's always gonna be a bottom 10% period. And so to say that they're failing, we'll compare them to say maybe a school in Minnesota, maybe they're not, but you always have to have a bottom.
The second part of that is there was some open enrollment language on there that got rid of being ineligible for sports for 90 days. I am a proponent of open enrollment. I have no problem with it, but I do think you have to have that limitation. It does open the good clause thing. We've accepted good clause. If there's a legitimate reason, every school is pretty good about saying, yes, this is what's best for the kid, other than athletics. There's a big, you looked at all those kids that came in from out of state to play football. The big thing was, are they coming solely for football? Because if you move to a place for a sport, you cannot participate for 90 days. That's the same way I look at the open enrollment, that if I want to open enroll to a neighboring district solely for a sport, I don't know what the difference is than bringing up residency in that area. The other part of it is kindergartners can choose to go to a private school or a charter school. The idea is, because they've done it in other states, you have your kindergartner, now you're in, and you bring in the next kindergartner. So for year one, doesn't cost that much. In 12 years, you've got every single person that goes to a private school taking state money with it. So it's a 12-year buy-in, which is a lot easier to try to sell politically than it is to say we're all going to do it in a year. If you look at the language, it says this is a permanent structure. It does not say this is a trial for 1 year. Right now, the House is, it's stuck in the House, which means I think you have representatives on the Republican side that are not fully on board with it. They've talked about breaking it into sections, approving some of it, so Terry has a good relationship with most people around here. If you have a feeling one way or another, I'd recommend you talk to him on it. He'll listen to you, so.
Any other questions for Jeff? Our favorite motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.